We are all trying to figure out how do we navigate these shoals to turn the future into an opportunity and not a threat. Well, what do you do with this? I have no idea what you do with this on Monday morning. Every single conference I go to, they go, give us a list of what we need to do Monday morning. I have absolutely no idea. And obviously, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not Tony Robbins, get up here, walk on fire, your life's gonna be better. To me, motivational speakers have always been a little bit like Chinese food, and an hour from now, you go, whoa, what was that about? But what I do want you to be thinking about is what do you do to align yourself to a world in which the future belongs to those who are fast? I think you can do it. My career background has given me the skills and capabilities to interpret for my global CEO clients the disruptive trends which are unfolding on the ground right now. 30 years ago, I started working for a Canadian accounting firm called Thorne Riddell. I became a Canadian chartered accountant at the age of 21. I actually had a column in CA magazine for about 10 years that nobody read, right? Because we all got that publication, we actually didn't read it. I spent 10 years in the exciting world of business advisory services, taxation, accounting, auditing. I remember vividly the day. I'm 21 years old, I'm a brand new Canadian chartered accountant, and I'm called into the senior manager's office with a complaint. We had a series of audit tick marks that we had to use in our working papers to identify particular issues, check marks and X's and circles. Bored the heck out of me. And I came up with an elaborate set of stickmen. This meant this, and this meant that, and that meant that. And I was told I was not allowed to use stickmen in an audit working paper file. And I realized this profession was out to crush my creativity. I got very involved with the internet in the 1990s. I went on to write 34 books about the internet. I sold 1 million books. I got on stage and began to advise people about what comes next. I'll give you my answer to this, and that is be like Fiji. And a little story from the agricultural industry that has nothing to do with manufacturing, but I've used it on stage before because I think it's a remarkable story. I spoke at the National Potato Expo in Orlando about 3 years ago. It was a potato conference, a whole bunch of potato farmers and the potato industry and the French fry industry and French fry equipment manufacturers. And they had a trade show, with booths of all kinds of agricultural companies and science companies. And I was wandering around the trade show, and there was a booth for the nation of Fiji. And I was kind of attracted to the fact that there was a booth for the nation of Fiji. Not by the fact that they had a number of young Fijian women at the booth, but by the fact that Fiji was there. And I went to them and I said, it's kind of unique, tell me about your potato industry. And they essentially said, we do not have one. But they said, we know that everything, all the statistics tell us that global food production has to double in the next 30 years to keep up with global population growth, and that there is little new arable land coming to market. So we intend to build a potato industry, essentially out of nothing. And I mean, that said it to me right there, be like Fiji, right? I mean, the world is open to us, and I think for any developing emerging economy, be like Fiji.
Futurist Jim Carroll in the home broadcast studio. I noticed today on my website there was a blog that was getting a lot of traffic, and it's about the island nation of Fiji, and it specifically features a video in which I'm talking about this small island nation, which was at the National Potato Expo when I was the opening keynote speaker there a number of years ago. They had a booth to talk about their potato industry, and I asked them about their potato industry. They don't actually have one, but they viewed the world as, absolutely growing in terms of demand for agricultural production. That food production demand was going to double given population growth. There was little new arable land, and therefore, potato growers had to bring a lot more potatoes to market. So why not do that on the island nation of Fiji? It's a great little story, but it's really a story about reinvention. And what do you do to reinvent yourself and establish new opportunities in a world in which those opportunities abound? And you might find yourself in circumstances right now in this big global complex economy, the downturn, massive GDP reduction, you're trying to figure out what do I do with my career, what do I do with my job, what do I do with my industry, what do I do with my company, where are the opportunities in the future? And what you need to do that is you got to be like Fiji. You got to look at the world as being full of opportunity. You've got to look at the future as being something to be pursued rather than something to be feared. What are you doing each and every day to reinvent yourself, your skills, your capabilities, your industry, your business line, your service opportunities, your knowledge? If you aren't reinventing at a furious pace, you're not being like the island of Fiji. And I want you to go and look at my website, and I'll have that with this video so that you can actually watch that video where I'm on stage in Morocco for the World Bank talking about Fiji and their potato industry. Reinvention is absolutely critical. I'm living and breathing that every single day in my home broadcast studio here because we know the global meeting, event, and conference industry is changing, and I've got to reinvent myself at an absolutely furious pace to stay ahead of the pack. The second video I want you to watch is a little one that I spoke at EY, Ernst & Young's tax conference last year, and I was talking about actually my first career. I'm actually a professional accountant, and I was talking on stage about what happened when I was using Stickmen in the audit working papers, which apparently wasn't a thing in the organization. The profession was out to crush my creativity. But that is another example of how you can reinvent yourself. I think I'm on my fourth or fifth different career in my lifetime. Maybe I've got a couple more to go. I'm certainly reinventing at a furious pace in my home broadcast studio each and every day, forcing myself to go live, forcing myself to master the capabilities of talking in a small space to organizations around the world, because virtual is our future. So what are you doing to reinvent? How are you challenging yourself each and every day to reinvent? What are you doing in terms of new skills, new capabilities, new ideas? Reinvention should be the key word that you adopt each and every day as you go forward into this future, because when it really comes to the future, there's nothing but opportunity out there. That's it for now. Futurist Jim Carroll from the home broadcast studio.